No, I don't have anything.
Here we go.
Just want to be there.
Good evening, Rolling Meadows. This is a City Council meeting for February 13th, 2018. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Cannon is absent. Bud Matz.
Present.
Majikis. Here. Gallo.
Here.
Banger.
Here.
Diastis.
Present.
Veenbos.
Present.
With 6 present and only 1 absent, we do have a quorum.
It's okay. Just need this.
The first order of business is to approve the minutes from January 16th, 2018 Committee of the Whole meeting and the January 23rd, 2018 Council meeting. Is there a motion to approve these minutes? Ms. Majikis has made that. It has been seconded. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions to the minutes? Seeing none, the question is, shall the minutes be approved? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the minutes are approved. I need a motion to deviate for a public hearing for the CDBG call project.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Banger. Must be that honey and the bees in there. And do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the question is, shall the council deviate from the agenda? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and we will now deviate from the agenda. The Cook County Bureau of Administration requires the City of Rolling Meadows to hold a public hearing regarding the use of the Cook County Community Development Block Grant funds. This hearing is to solicit input from the community regarding future funding and program needs. Let the record show that this public hearing opened at 7:33 p.m. on Tuesday, February 13th, 2018. The Cook County Community Development Block Grant Program funds a variety of needs, some of which include single-family rehabilitation, fair housing activities, housing counseling, affordable housing opportunities, infrastructure improvements, commercial rehabilitation, capital improvements, and public service activities. The City of Rolling Meadows encourages any interested parties or organizations to present any current or future requests or ideas regarding the use of Cook County Community Development Block Grant Program funds. The City of Rolling Meadows City Council will be requested to approve any Community Development Block Grant project applications at a regularly scheduled meeting in late March or early April 2018 to meet the schedule as established by the Cook County Bureau of Administration. The City is required to follow the established procedures of the Cook County Community Development Block Grant Program regarding project submittal and established limitations on funding. The City of Rolling Meadows will also consider any necessary revisions to its 5-year plan on file with the Cook County Department of Planning and Development at a future City Council meeting. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak regarding the Cook County Community Development Block Grant Program? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on this subject? Seeing none, let the record show that it closed at 7:35 p.m. on February 13th, 2018. That brings us to the mayor's and the ward's report. Mr. Comstock, I'm going to ask you to help me that since I left my notes. Mr. Vogt, I understand, or I'm not sure if it's going to be Mr. Vogt. Our Public Works Department has received a number of awards for their employees in the last couple of weeks, and I left my notes at home, but Fred, if you want to wing it, go for it. But I think that we should give the
No, the
acknowledgement.
Public Works Director is sick and should not be talking, but
I'm not prepared to present myself anything or anybody else anything tonight.
Oh, okay. Thank you,
in the
Mr.
future.
Comstock.
what the mayor's actually mentioning, and we actually have mentioned in our February e-news and views, which is on the internet, we had 3 Public Works employees recognized for leaders of excellence. Public Works Director Fred Vogt was presented with the Top 10 Public Works Leader of the Year Award. Internal Services Superintendent Don Wenzel received the Professional Manager of the Year Emergency Management Award. And Water Utility Superintendent John Smogy received the APWA Samuel A. Greeley Award, and that actually recognizes dedication and continued service to a local public agency. So all 3 of them were recognized at a recent luncheon that was done by APWA, and we appreciate all their service. But again, that's what's actually
And thank you. And next time I'll put my notes, I'll pin them to me so I don't lose them. A couple of other things that I did want to mention that I've been involved with is Rolling Meadows Crime Stoppers on Sunday, March 4th, is going to have a bowl-a-thon again to raise money, and there'll be more information coming forward. But I also received information on February 23rd and 24th, the USA Sled Hockey Benefit Game for the Paralympic Sled Hockey Team will be taking place here in West Meadows Ice Arena. So I would like to bring that out there. I know I will be in attendance there, so I just wanted to let everyone know that that's coming and that we have a number of activities that I would like to see the community come out and support. I do have a sadness to report that one of our retired officers, Sergeant Dave Carlson, passed away recently. He was a veteran of many years, and for those of you that knew him in the community, he was a great credit to not only the community but to the department. So I just wanted to say that the City of Rolling Meadows and many of us, our hearts go out to you, and we thank Dave for all his years of service. Moving on to ward reports. Are there ward reports? Seeing none, this moves us on to the meeting is now open for 20 minutes. To the public, the council meeting is open, as I said, for 20 minutes to address the City Council on matters that are not on the agenda or regarding other issues. We ask that persons wishing to address the City Council keep the comments to 5 minutes in length. Comments must be addressed to the council as a whole through the mayor, and profanity may not be used in any form. The first signatory is Bill Amundson. And as usual, Mr. Amundson, it is always great to see you here.
Thank you. With tonight's passage, of the second reading of the change of the Dominic property to residential, pretty much effectively turns the whole south side of Kirchhoff Road into residential. It's a shame that the property is going to residential when the property could be used for something that would develop tax money for the city of Rolling Meadows. If everybody is so intent on changing our commercial into residential, we could start by condemning the Jewel Shopping Center and turn that into residential. And then when we're through with that, we can go over to the Meyer property, and we can really stuff a lot of multiple dwelling in over there. And when you're through with that, then we can maybe condemn the Walmart triangle and turn that into residential, so that Rolling Meadows is going to end up being pretty much a bedroom community. Now we're going to be spending what is so far to cost, $9 million, to relocate fire stations. And you know there are going to be overruns and overages and everything else. There's going to be $12 million. The city has to repay police and fire retirement funds $50 million. All of this is going to have to come out of the taxpayer's pocket. Now, you know, if some of you people should check with some of your constituents. There is a lot of anger about the cost of real estate taxes in this city. And I don't understand why we have not hired an economic development person that has the contacts with other economic development people. They go to different shows and conventions, and they get in touch with other companies that are moving or planning to expand and looking for property. You know, Caterpillar was looking for a place to go. They ended up in Deerfield. Rolling Meadows, if they'd have settled in Rolling Meadows, they got on 53 and take a straight shot down to 55 and down to 116 to Peoria. But they're in Deerfield. And it adds another 45 minutes at least of travel time. But we can't just sit back and say, we're Rolling Meadows. Let's come to Rolling Meadows because we're here. We lost out on IKEA. They came to us, but we couldn't do anything to release that property from the protective covenant. So Rolling Meadows are going to have to get busy and get some economic development persons in here that can get some business into town. There's no reason for that Dominic property to have laid fallow so long. There are a lot of businesses that could have come into town. And if they say Rolling Meadows is too small, but look at all of the residential around us. Considerable amount of residential around us that we would pull from them, like the other towns that they settle in would pull from their neighboring communities. So let's try and get something in this town that's going to give the city some tax relief, because you got a lot of expenses coming up, and our pockets are getting worn out. Thank you.
Thank you for coming forward and speaking tonight. The next person up on the signatory list is Craig Carlson.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Craig Carlson. Again, I'm the owner of the Comet Frozen Custard lot. Please don't come from my lot, not yet, to change over. So I think the council knows my position on this is that I am not in favor of that piece of property becoming the majority of townhomes on the former site. It does take up, that represents over 30% of our downtown district. And I'm asking the city council to really take a more long-term vision of this. And my comments are going to be brief tonight, but I would like to make a couple points out, is that the argument that we continue to hear that it's a traffic count discussion isn't necessarily true for successful downtowns. And you only have to look to your closest neighbors. Palatine, they don't have a road that runs through their downtown that has more than 5,000 cars a day. Downtown Arlington Heights, with the exception of Northwest Highway, doesn't have that. Elk Grove, and I could go on and on. So we can build a successful downtown without being on a major thoroughfare. In addition to that, I have been looking into an alternative plan, and I'm here tonight to publicly ask, and I've met with a couple of the councilmen already, for each of you to carve out 10 to 15 minutes, because I know this isn't the best format for back and forth to discuss an alternative plan, but to meet with me. And I'm on the point to contact each of you, and I've reached out to the majority of you tonight. And I'd like to share that plan with you, and I'd like for you to give it a serious consideration, because I think that the community needs a downtown. I think there's a calling for that. You have hundreds and hundreds of homes that are in walking distance of the downtown, and that's so valuable. And I think we're missing that as a key selling point. And then also the fact that the tax dollars and the business revenue would be generated here. And the argument that I'm going to have, if there's 115 townhomes, there's going to be an additional 250 people that can come buy my ice cream. You put one good restaurant in town and they have 10 tables and they turn those tables every night. That brings in way more than that. So the economic growth of that parcel, while I understand maybe a portion of it has to be multi-use and it won't be retail, I think that's the way to go. So I'm going to ask each of you to please accept my call and schedule time with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carlson, for coming forward tonight. This brings to the council to ordinances in for a second reading. Ordinance A is to approve 3-lot subdivision rezoning of the suburban southern 9.5 acres from C2 general commercial to services to R4 intermediate residential. Amendment to the comprehensive planning and preliminary plan development for the 2018-19, 2019-15 Kirkcroft Road. The current petition was presented to the city's Planning and Zoning Commission on December 20th, 2017 as a 3-lot subdivision. 2 0.73 lots to remain zoned commercial and facing Kirkcroft Road, and a third lot of approximately 9.5 acres to be rezoned R4 and developed as a townhome and row home plan development. At a special meeting held on Tuesday, December 20th, 2017, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 1-7 with 1 absent to recommend against the subdivision, and 1-7 with 1 absent to recommend against rezoning, and 4-4 with 1 absent as a neutral recommendation regarding the preliminary plan development. Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance? Mr. Diastis has made that. Is it second? Mr. Banger has seconded. Is there a discussion? Mr. Diastis.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we postpone this vote on this until we have a full council.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I have a second.
Second. Mr. Beanbast is second. Is there any discussion? Mr. Gallo.
Regardless of whether or not we postpone it, I do have to make clear for the majority of my ward whom I've contacted and spoken about this issue, they are in agreement that though there will be mixed use probably necessary to suit that position,
Jim?
we should not.
We're supposed to be talking about the motion postponed.
Okay.
Let's talk about the motion. Let's talk about the motion postponed.
Okay.
Well, we
back on track. Yes.
Then,
Go ahead, Mr. Gallo. Yes, go ahead.
well, I just have to reiterate that the composition that's laid out now, and if we postpone or not, Ward 4 is not in favor.
So
of
your
Ward
motion, so your discussion is that you do not wish to postpone. You're not going to support this motion. Is that what you're saying?
No, I support the motion to postpone.
Okay, thank you. Next, Mr. Banger, was that your hand up? For no further discussion, will the clerk please call the roll?
Bud Matts.
Could you please read the motion so I know exactly how I'm voting?
Okay, Mr. Diastis.
Motion to postpone until we have a full council to vote.
Yes.
Majikis. No. Gallo.
Yes.
Banger.
No.
Diastis.
Yes.
Greenbus.
Yes.
With 4 for it and 2 against, the motion to postpone is passed. That brings us to amend the code for ambulance billing B. Staff recommends updating its fees to $1,500 per ambulance transport. The funds generated would help the general fund build fund balances, reserves for pensions, road improvements, and to hedge against the state of Illinois' uncertainty in distributing revenues. Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance? Mr. Banger has made it, and there is a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
I have some discussion.
Okay, I'm sorry.
This motion was amended the last time through. We're voting on it in the exact original presentation.
Right. But Mr. Krumstock.
You are correct, and actually, if you look later in the council meeting, there's a resolution to that. And obviously, when we went back to Obviously, the ambulance and health insurance and everything, they need a clean ordinance. They can't have anything that talks about diverting funds or anything. So this is why you have a clean ordinance in front of you, and that's why you see a resolution later on that actually deals with what that amendment in motion actually was talked about last meeting.
Okay, but we approved an amended last time, so we're approving something different this time?
You're approving the original ordinance that was before you.
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion, Mr. Budnett? Thank you. Any further discussion? The clerk, please call the roll.
Majikis? Yes. Gallo?
Yes.
Baner?
Yes.
Diestis?
Yes.
Veenbos?
No.
Budmats?
Yes.
5 in favor and 1 opposed. The ordinance does pass. This brings us to there are no consent ordinances. This brings us to new business. The motion to approve payment of bills on warrant 2-13-18. The next item of business is a motion to approve the warrant from 2-13-18 as represented by the Finance Department. Is there a motion to approve the warrant?
So, Mayor.
Mr. Jikis has made that. Is there a second? Mr. Baner has made it. A second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the question is, shall the warrant be approved? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Gallo?
Yes.
Baner?
Yes.
Diestis? Veenbos?
Yes.
Budmats?
Yes.
Majikis? Yes.
With 6 in favor and none opposed, the warrants are approved. This brings us to the consent resolution. The next item on the agenda is the consent resolutions. It consists of 7 items D through J. Does any alderman wish to remove an item from the consent agenda for resolutions? Mr. Baner.
Thank you. D.
Yep. That brings us, any other items?
H and I.
Any other items? That brings us down to four items. Items E, F, G, and J. Okay, does anyone, okay, seeing none, the chair declares it in order for one motion to consider all 4 resolutions remaining in one motion without debate. Is there such a resolution? Is there such a motion? Mr. Buchanan has made it. It has been, Mr. Budmats has made it. And you seconded. Thank you. The question is, shall all 4 resolutions be adopted? Resolution E, number 18-R-11. Approve a wage increase for the city manager. This resolution, if adopted, would give the city manager a salary increase in the amount of 3% for 2018 and a one-time bonus of $2,500. F, resolution number 18-R-12, approve a fiscal year 2018 motor fuel tax appropriations for public works, street maintenance, or operations. This resolution, if adopted, would allocate $600,000 from the city's motor fuel tax fund, of which $600,000 will be utilized for this year's street resurfacing project. G, the resolution number 18-R-13 approve the submittal of a grant application for an Algonquin Road, New Wilkie Phase 1 preliminary engineering costs. This resolution, if adopted, would authorize the city to prepare submit a grant application to Cook County Department of Transportation for the Invest in Cook program. This is the second year of the grant funding program. J, resolution number 18-R-16. IMRF resolution, payment in lieu of health care. This resolution, if adopted, would adopt new resolutions stating that the payment related to the health care benefits are still reported as IMRF earnings. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Baner,
Yes.
Diastis.
Yes.
Veenbos,
Yes.
Budmats.
Yes.
Majikis.
Yes.
Gallo.
Yes.
6 in favor, none opposed. That will move forward. Resolution D is the commitment of the fund balance from general funds ambulance fees. This resolution, if adopted, would commit funds from the general fund for road improvements into the local fund. Do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Diastis has made that, and Mr. Banger has seconded it. Mr. Banger, were you the... Yes, go ahead.
Thank
First
you.
bite at the apple.
And my comments echo staff comments, which I don't want to pass something that binds their hands, and I also do trust the staff to develop a budget next year with these additional revenues going to wherever they feel appropriate. We've got a lot of things separate from our local roads that I can think that we might be using this for. But I don't. Either way, I don't want to tie their hands with this additional revenue. So I will not be voting in favor of this. Thank you.
Any other discussion on D? Mr. Budmats.
I'd like to make a motion that we postpone this. The person who made this motion is not here tonight. He's not getting a chance to speak on it. He was the guy who pushed so hard for this at the last meeting. He deserves a right to speak into this before we vote on it.
So you wish to amend? Okay, you wish to postpone, I'm sorry.
It was to postpone the vote on item D in respect for Mike.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Gallo has seconded. Is there any discussion on the postponement? Seeing none, will the clerk call the roll, please?
Diastis.
Yes.
Veenbos,
Yes.
Budmats.
Yes.
Majikis.
Yes.
Gallo.
Yes.
Baner.
Yes.
With 6 favor, it will be postponed until the next meeting. Resolution H, number 18-R-14, award a 3-year contract extension for landscape services, downtown Kirkhoff and other sites. This resolution, if adopted, would authorize a 3-year contract extension for landscape maintenance for 2018, 2019, and 2020 to Berry Landscaping Management. Do I have a motion? Mr. Banger has made it, seconded by Ms. Majikis. Mr. Budmats, you brought this forward.
I did. In reading the packet, it appears that there wasn't a public bid for this and that we're working off a bid that's 3 years old. I recommend that we only go with a 1-year extension and publicly bid this. The city has the right to use the lowest responsible bidder, and if they have a relationship with an organization that they feel is responsive and is competitive, then they can make a recommendation to us that they have publicly bid it and they feel that Berry would be the lowest responsible bidder. But at this point, it doesn't look like it's been bid out publicly for at least 3 years. So I would ask that we only award a 1-year contract extension so that we don't disrupt any services, and that when that contract extension is up, we would publicly bid it.
Thank you. Motion to make it to a 1-year. Do we have a second? Mr. Gallo has made a second. Is there any other discussion? Mr. Banger.
I don't want to put Fred on the spot, but I guess my question would be, what would this do to the contractor? Are they going to accept a 1-year extension if we change it on the fly like this?
I can't answer for them. I would expect that they would be interested in a 1-year extension, but we'll have to inquire and make sure. If they are, we have no objection to putting this out, late fall or earlier in the winter to rebid it and see what prices we got. This has been a very good contractor. They require very little supervision, which is important to us, but we certainly respect if council wishes us to break this up and not award a 3-year and consider it year by year at this time.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the Mr. Budmat's amendment?
Veenbos,
Yes.
Budmats.
Yes.
Majikis.
No.
Gallo.
Yes.
Baner.
Yes.
Diastis.
Yes.
5 in favor, 1 opposed. It does pass. And this resolution is amended to be a 1-year instead of a 3-year contract. brings us to Resolution I, number...
You need to do the resolution.
Discussion on
Oh, I'm sorry.
the regular one, as amended.
Thank you. So we need to go forward then with the resolution as amended, that resolution number 18-R-14 will award a one-year contract extension for landscape services in downtown Kirkhoff and other sites. Do we have a motion? Mr. Budmats has made it. It has been seconded. Is there any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Budmats.
Yes.
Majikis.
Yes.
Gallo.
Yes.
Baner.
Yes.
Diastis.
Yes.
Veenbos.
Yes.
6 in favor and none opposed. That moves forward as amended. That brings us to Resolution I, number 18-R-15, award a contract for replacement and upgrade of security system at 3900 Burknick Street. This resolution, if adopted, would authorize the approval of a contract for the replacement of the security system and the addition of a security camera at the Combined Services Facility, Public Works North, at 3900 Burknick Street. Is there a motion to move that forward?
So move, Mayor.
Mr. Majikis has made that. Seconded? It's been seconded. Is there, Mr. Budmats, your discussion?
Pulled this one for the same reason. There's only one bid shown. I called Public Works. They said they only received one bid for this work. I suggest that we get more than one bid for this work, given the size of the project. And I've had recent experience with this contractor that their work wasn't the greatest in that particular instance. So I would suggest that we get other bids just to compare.
So you wish to...
Postpone it to get public bid for 3 bids.
Okay. Is there a second to his amendment? Mr. Gallo has made it. Is there a discussion? Mr. Diastis?
Clarification from the city attorney. Postponing, is that for one meeting?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
So does that give staff enough time to get bids by the next meeting?
Mayor, what I would recommend
And is
that it gets rejected and then
it
it goes
rejected?
back.
Well, that was going to be the next thing, is that there's not enough time to turn it forward, so...
I would expect we would need more than a week and a half to
Okay.
get competitive quotes or bids for this. So if rejection is the other option, then we'll start over and probably be back in 2 council meetings, I'll say.
Okay.
So that we don't delay it unnecessarily, if this is important, how long do you think you would need?
I don't see that timing is critical at this point. If we have to push this off, I'll say 2 to 4 weeks. That's what we will target, and we'll still accomplish the project relatively quickly.
Okay.
You have to pull your motion.
So I'll pull my amendment. I guess we can vote on the original.
Vote up and down, okay. Any other further discussion on this? Will the clerk please call the roll on Resolution I, number 18-R-15?
Majikis.
No.
Gallo.
No.
Baner.
No.
Diastis.
No.
Veenbos.
No.
Cannon. Budmats.
No.
The resolution fails for fail of a majority. This brings us to other businesses and reports. I have no appointments tonight, but I am just announcing that I am informed that the Police Pension Board will have an opening at the month of April. If you're someone who would like to step forward, please send a letter of interest and a resume to attention to my office. So I have no proclamations. Does the city clerk have a report?
There is an election coming up on March 20th, primary for the governor. Let's see, last day to register to vote in person is February 20th. First day of early voting is March 5th. That goes through March 19th. And then mail-in ballots will have to be postmarked by March 20th. And the election is March 20th. That's it.
Thank you. Barry, community items of interest?
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. I do have a few add-ons and one additional part for what the Mayor mentioned earlier. Obviously, this is the last week that we have the holiday light recycling boxes. The collection does finish at the end of this week. They would be picked up early next week. But that holiday recycling program is through the City of Rolling Meadows, Swank, and Elgin Recycling. And we do appreciate everybody who participated in that and making sure that the stream of garbage and recycling is actually maintained instead of putting additional lights in there. Obviously, what was mentioned before about the primary coming up, please be aware of those dates that come over there. And if you have any questions, I'm sure that the Deputy City Clerk would be more than happy to answer the telephone tomorrow or in the next few days to go over those dates again, too.
Certainly.
Obviously, Thursday, March 29th from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at the Rolling Meadows Library, there will be a meet and greet and seed swap for all gardeners who want to participate in the community garden or learn a little bit more or get some new seeds. February 18th, this Sunday, Law Enforcement Torch Run Polar Plunge for Special Olympics will take place at Twin Lakes in Palatine. It starts around 12 p.m. And it ends at about 3 p.m. If you'd like to donate or participate, you can always contact Chief Nowacki. He will be participating. This year's theme between Rolling Meadows and Arlington Heights PD is the 80s. I think he still has some clothing for that. If not, he'll collect that too. It is a great, unique opportunity to support Special Olympic athletes, and this year it won't be as warm as it was last year, and they have got lots of snow out there too. But it's a great event. It's also going to the Special Olympics athletes, and just a reminder that the torch run itself on Gulf Road doesn't happen until June. Then March 3rd will be the 17th annual Dr. Seuss celebration at the Rolling Meadows Library. For more information, please contact the library. They do need readers. I hope that those who've done it in the past will come out again. And then March 3rd, there will be a Taste of the Town, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Community Center at 3705 Pheasant Drive. Tickets cost $15 and can be purchased at the Community Center or at the door of the day of the event. And again, that's March 3rd, and the next meeting we'll have another quick report about that and who at that point in time will be showing up and participating in the Taste of the Town. A blood drive is scheduled for Tuesday, March 6th at 12 p.m. noon to 6 p.m. at the Newkirk's Fire Station. That's 2455 Plum Grove Road. Walk-ins are welcome, but you can always register at 847-397-3352 to donate. March 8th to the 11th is the Rolling Meadows Library Spring Book Sale. Please contact the library at 847-259-6050 for hours for this event. The Rotary St. Patrick's Day Dinner is scheduled for Saturday, March 10th. This is the 18th annual St. Patrick's Day Dinner and Auction prepared by the Rotary Club of Rolling Meadows and will take place between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. in the Rolling Meadows Community Center, 3705 Pheasant Drive. What I would remind people is that you do need to purchase tickets in advance. You can contact Rolling Meadows Park District Executive Director Amy Charlesworth at 847-818-3220, extension 111, or the Rolling Meadows Rotarian here, sitting across the way, very sick, so don't contact him tonight. Public Works Director Fred Vogt at 847-963-0500. He will be more than happy to sell you a ticket at a later date for the dinner and auction, but you can also participate in the 50-50. There's a very limited number of tickets for that. I think it's 100. And again, that's another thing that you can participate. As we mentioned earlier in tonight, the February electronic e-news and views is out. Just a reminder, you can click on that through our website, and we do publish that e-news on the off months when we did not do the printed e-news and views. The fire department is offering home safety surveys for Rolling Meadows residents, senior citizens. The senior safety program is a city resident age 65 and older. Trained fire department personnel will perform a safety survey, provide guidance to maximize the risk of fire and injury, and install free smoke alarm carbon monoxide detector to residents who request this home program. This program, as we've stated in the past, is funded by FEMA, Fire Protection and Safety Grant. And seniors who would like to participate, please contact the fire department at 847-397-3352. I do want to mention and actually elaborate a little bit more from what the mayor mentioned. So on Friday, February 23rd and Saturday, February 24th at the West Meadows Ice Arena. That's 3939 Winnetka Avenue here in Rolling Meadows. The U.S. Paralympic sled hockey team will be playing the USA National Development Sled team. This is really their last two final events before they make their way over to South Korea. It's a great way to really support U.S. hockey overall. And again, we do have flyers here at City Hall, and we do have it posted throughout the area. But again, that is Friday, February 23rd, and Saturday, February 24th. Both games start at 8 p.m. The other item that I do want to mention, which we did get notice about today, is that the Meadows Christian Fellowship, located at 2401 Kirchhoff Road, is actually kicking off Meadows Cruise Nights a little bit early this year, but they have something called Hot Cakes for Hot Rods on Saturday, March 3rd, between 9 and 10:30 a.m. This is a free breakfast for people to talk about cars. So with that, the only other item that I do want to mention is obviously from all the city of Rolling Meadows and obviously from police departments throughout the area. Condolences go out to the Chicago Police Department and specifically to Commander Bauer's family. So with that, those are items.
Thank you, Mr. Comstock. I guess Rolling Meadows Community Garden, I don't even know why your name is on here, because I guess we're going to talk to Mr. Banger.
Yes, thank you. And I just did a write-up. I've been meaning to do this for quite some time, just to give an update and any information that you might be wondering about. And once again, this is our fourth year of enjoying the use of Outlot 5. Several members of the current council were instrumental in voting to allow us to plop a community garden on there. So feel free to read through that. I just have some factoids, and it's grown from the original 16 plots to currently 32. So most of the other information I put in the write-up. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we're going to beekeeping. And Mr. Banger, we're not going to let you talk about beekeeping at all because we're going to have Barry give us everything he knows about it.
Maybe I'll rescue Barry from that.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Banger.
Once again, thanks to the council for unanimously voting to allow residents to do backyard beekeeping. As I had indicated a few weeks ago, we got off to a good start with our 6 hives in Rolling Meadows, 2 in my own backyard and 4 scattered throughout the city in backyard hosts. But starting in November, they started crashing one by one, and if that wasn't sad enough, my last Iowa farm beehive came back from the farm 2 weekends ago with my neighbors who brought it back because it had crashed also. So beekeeping currently is not for the faint of heart, and I have included some information that essentially says that. But starting in the spring, we'll have at least, besides myself, we'll have at least 2 backyard beekeepers who are residents within the city. So, I'll probably, I have one person set up to be a backyard host, and I'm looking for a few more. But again, the write-up just kind of spells out my insights from our first year of backyard beekeeping. I just wanted to keep you folks updated with that, since most of you were involved in passing that ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Banger. Thank you for rescuing Mr. Comstock. Mr. Comstock, the February 20th Committee of the Whole.
Sure. Everything that I learned about beehive, I learned in the backyard recently at an open house, and 2 ordinances that Jim McCall worked on too. So we know a little bit. But for the community to understand, the Committee of the Whole meeting set for February 20th will actually have 6 items. There's only 4 shown, but smart city initiatives that will be actually a full discussion. Obviously, Alderman Gallo will kick that off, and there will be some experts here and some other pieces. But it's an initiative that would put, hopefully, the city of Rolling Meadows first in Illinois, but it does have a little longer discussion. Video gaming will be back. That does have a recommendation from the Economic Development Committee, and it actually has a recommendation from the Chamber of Commerce to support economic development and utilize it as an economic support / incentive overall. The natural gas tax will be back. Additional information that was asked last time. There will be a discussion about Sunset Brookwood sewers. I know that some people have been waiting for about a year on that one. We're ready to come back and give you that. 2017 Economic Development Committee / overall economic development for 2017 will be discussed during this. This is something that we do right after we do with the Economic Development Committee, and we did that obviously a week ago. So that will be there. And then the mayor would like to have a discussion with the city council about presenting a letter to the congressional caucus on both sides, senators and representatives, in support of a post office. So those are the 6 things for a night that looks like it will be a little bit longer, but we are trying to watch people's time.
Thank you, Mr. Comstock. That brings us to matters not on the agenda. Mr. Gallo, thank you for the Smart City initiatives. I have been reading more and more about that across the country, and it will be great that we could be number 1 in the state. Are there other matters not on the agenda, Mr. Gallo?
Yep, dovetailing off the Smart City initiatives, thank you, Barry, for bringing that up for next week. I just wanted to briefly mention that back on January the 25th, I worked with the Rolling Meadows Fire Department and a Chicago-based company, Haas Alert System. We began a pilot program where there was an installation of 5 devices on 5 of the vehicles within the fleet. The reason I wanted to start this initiative with our first responders and with public safety is because I learned a statistic that first responders, be it police, ambulatory, or fire personnel, are in greater danger and almost 60% more likely to be injured or killed en route to a call than at an actual call. And then I noticed in a lot of the space that I work with, new mobility and smart city integration, that there was a company out there that helps add additional layers of advanced warning and safety. Not to bore anybody with the technical weeds of it all or fascinate you, however you want to look at it. Basically, what this has done since then is it's alerted over 150 motorists in advance of the vehicles, ambulance or fire, approaching on the roads, allowing these drivers to then be more warned, take more caution, and give greater right-of-way to our emergency responders and allow more safety on our roads. These quantifiers give us opportunities to either reduce costs, whether it's insurance premiums with our insurer by showing this data, or by showing the actual progress we make with en route to calls, and allow for federal grants to open up because of our quantifiers, meaning we can get somewhere in more time or less time or respond at certain rates. I'll continue with more of this on the Smart City Initiative time and talk about how taking individual applications and combining them with other applications to make systems and corridors make Rolling Meadows an entirely attractive, appealing leader in the state of Illinois coming up. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gallo. Other matters not on the agenda? Ms. Majakis.
Thank you. Just really quickly, I'd just like to say thank you to Public Works, and please tell all the guys and girls, everybody, great job with the storm and the streets, as usual. Meadows does an awesome job, so thank you.
Thank you. Any other matters not on the agenda? Is there a motion to adjourn? We have a motion. And do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are done.